anything. My friend took me to this doctor in Sydney. She knew decent people. This guy was a decent doctor. He was in the rich area of Sydney, and he dealt with celebrities and so forth. She's an artist, so she knows these kind of people. So he was, he's still in that medical world, but he used to give people intravenous vitamin C and stuff like this. So he was kind of okay. But now he wants to bring me on the psych meds. I'm freaking out. I don't want to be on psych meds. Right? I've already done comedy about giving kids psych meds, and I've just never taken meds my whole life or got vaccinations. I don't know any of this fucking rubbish. Right? It's rubbish. But I'm in a state. Right? So, of course, their thing is, well, we'll stabilise you, we'll get this, you've got to get some sleep, we'll do that, rah, rah, rah. I'm in such a state that I just go, well, okay, maybe I can get into that world. Stable, can we get this and get out? Right? But I'm fighting it all the way. So here's where it's confusing, because I'm in a state too, I'm getting serious depressions, like just brutal stuff, and just so your decision making process is desperate. Right. So I don't want to be on these things. He's got me in like 3 of them, and so I then decided to just get off in my head, even though because here's when I start to realize, well, they're not stopping this depression. Right? You're giving me these things to stabilize me, but there was a part of my soul that knew it's not going to work. And it's not doing anything, right? So I want off them. Now they tell you shouldn't do it don't go off them unless you're under doctor's supervision or this. So there's a red flag. Better not try and get off these by yourself, because I've got to be here to either if you go insane or to get you back on them. But I did it without them anyway. I just did it with a conspiracy theorist guy with dreadlocks at a house. Now this didn't pan out either. So now here's my predicament that I suddenly realise I'm in. Because I'm trying to get off these meds. Is the psychological state of affairs that I'm now going into the same illness that has been affecting me through the adrenal fatigue diagnosis and everything? What's going on here? Or is this a withdrawal of meds? So now I realise I've got these 2 worlds that I'm trying to. It's a disaster. So the withdrawal from this first bunch was just brutal. I went over to Asia to go to this rehab to try and keep me off meds. How I functioned and got over there in this state is just beyond me now. For a guy who's never been particularly good at fighting or like this, I realised I'm pretty fucking tough in other ways. Right? I don't know how I fucking did it, but now this is a disaster. They put me back on them, right? Well, they put me, I took them, because I'm still a mess, right? So I get out of there, I go back to Australia. Now my big thought is now I've got to get off these things again, right? And it took me 2 years. I did ayahuasca, I was doing just anything I could get my hands on. I had to be off these pills. There was no way that I could live my life, because they weren't doing anything anyway. They're not going to do it. They're going to make everything worse. And I can't be connected. And being a conspiracy theorist, I went, well, also if they decide to shut down society and not bring the trucks that bring you these pills, which they could easily do, then you're now connected to this thing. And in the psychological landscape, the physical, psychological, biochemical landscape, you're a slave to. No fucking way, right? Obviously, I feel for anyone out there who's on them for reasons that are difficult, really difficult challenges to fucking cure, like your mother. It's fucking it's devastating.
I spent years being the main one who administrates her pills, and I was of the mentality back then. I was like, no, the doctors told me it's because you're not taking them on time. So I was like really regiment on like, look, this is your time for these pills, this one. And I remember hearing years later when I started to look at different types of alternative care and stuff, and one doctor just suggesting, he's like, when you're having a cocktail of pills, he goes, at least put 10 minutes between each one. He goes, to let it digest on its own, because none of these pills have been studied as a mix. They're individually studied. No one's actually knows the consequences possibly of mixing them all together. She was on like 20, and you're taking 5 at a time sometimes. And I was like, I wish I knew that
word you use, which is universal to these people, cocktail.
Yeah. And
So they said in Australia, you're on a cocktail. I said, well, that doesn't sound appealing to me. I'm not a big cocktail guy to begin with, right? A pint of lager will do, right? So anyway, well, I spent the next 2 years, the final sort of guy I worked with when it all kind of ended. I was working with this guy in England from Australia and he just got me on supplements. This guy had bipolar and he didn't take any medication. And we're talking 30 supplements a day, twice a day, and told me which ones to get. He was really thorough and good. But that was the last run of this 5-6 year fucking journey of chaos that where one day I realized I'm not on them. I'm feeling better and I'm not on them. That was like fuck, that was like,
yeah, well, it's amazing that you managed to break through that through perseverance and grit and to continue actually just doing what you felt intuitively you needed to do. Because like you said, you can go somewhere and you get a pill. One thing I'd say to someone, if the doctor's going to give you a pill to manage your condition, ask them how long till you can stop taking it. When do I come off this and when will I feel better? And for the most part, you'll hear the answer is never. The dose will increase. But maybe some of your symptoms will get less. And if any other side effects arise, we've got a pill to deal with that.
It's a complete spider's web of evil.
Yeah.
If I want to be brutal about it.
Well, I had with my mum.
Also, well, as I said, you dealt with it early on. When I was dealing with it in my 40s, I just realized something. I don't know whether you saw this, but I mean, you've got lifelong experience. But I just realized, these people have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, I've seen over my lifetime, I don't know, I would say over 100 doctors, all different doctors and specialists, like say in their departments, all mental health specialists. And there might be some nice doctors out there, but from my personal experience, everyone I met was arrogant and miserable and talked down to me, especially as a child when I was a teenager. They didn't have time for me. They didn't want to talk to me seriously. They didn't take any of my concerns about my mother seriously. And it was really hard to communicate with them. Some of the nurses were really friendly, really supportive, really nice. And even they talked bad about the doctors. And they said, but we don't get the decision, the doctor does. Who only comes in once a week to see your mum for 10 minutes. And in that time, it's just to basically give you more pills and check you're taking them. But there wasn't really...
Exactly.
There was no care. There was
no care.
It was a real but that made me aware. I was like, I just thought when I was younger, I need more money to pay a doctor for more time, to fix these issues. That was my mentality when I was younger. That was driven me to be self-employed and to try and make more money because I was like, I need more to pay for the healthcare.
I know what you mean. We all get caught in that thing too.
I'll tell you another story.
Exactly it, man. That's it. I mean, I can talk to you on the level I think about this. Yeah, it's a disaster. It's a disaster area. Like, especially when you're dealing with the world of what they call mental health, then these people have no idea what they're talking about.
Like I said, I started boxing, then I became a personal trainer. I was so adamant that I need to take care of my mental health and my physical health because my mum lost both of them at a young age. I stayed away from drink and drugs and watched what I ate and started exercising from a very young age because I was told that I will develop what she has. They said, oh, it can be genetic. So I was terrified as a child. I was like, that's my worst fear, is to turn into what she was. So it driven...
There's another lie they tell everybody.
Yeah, but it drove me into trying to constantly know what is my mental health, what is my physical health. Yeah, and I made a million mistakes along the way. I got really sick in the process. Like I had depression for 20 years. I had suicidal episodes that turned into insomnia, chronic fatigue. And it was like, took a long time to unwind all them things and to change them. But what changed for me was actually my last suicide episode in 2015. So not that long ago. I was at that time, my love Danielle, who was a new one after I'd also been divorced from a childhood sweetheart. Like it's always been trauma in my life. It's always been drama. But drama builds character, No good story doesn't have some good drama. That's how I see it now. And I was with my new... She had a cardiac arrest at 29 years old. She dropped dead in a shop and they brought her back. Luckily, they brought her back with the pads, the electric pads in a shop. If the paramedic wasn't shopping at the same time in the hardware store, she would have been dead. But she was out for 2 minutes. When she came back, she had mild brain damage. She was paralyzed in her leg and she was on morphine, painkillers, pills to go toilet. She was just heavily medicated, and I became her full-time carer. And I was told she'll be dead within 5 years. She will never walk again. And you basically, there's nothing we can do, cause unknown. And at the same time, I was already caring for my mum, trying to do a business and work. And
Jesus Christ.
when that happened, my mum tried a suicide attempt every month for 7 months in a row because I was going to spend so much time looking after Danielle and going back and forth. So, and then she was having suicidal episodes and could die any moment anyway. And one day I had to walk to hers because I didn't have a car. I'd just been stealing food because I didn't have any money anymore to eat. So I just went to the shop, stole a steak, went back, got my mum from a hospital and put her back to make sure she's not there. I was walking to see if Danielle's still alive, worrying if my mum's going to be dead.
I'm getting exhausted listening.
Yeah, having another suicide attack, wondering if Danielle's alive. And I went across the M23 just south of London, across a bridge to get there. 6 lanes of really busy traffic. And I stopped on there and I was just like, life's been hard for too long. It's like, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. The future looks bleak, to say the least. Right now is painful and horrible. And it's like, jump. And I walked to the edge of the bridge and I was looking at all the cars flying by. And I was like, not only go out, make a bang, mess up some other people's day. Give them a little bit of problems. Like, this is what thoughts going from my head. It's like, make a big mess. You go out quick. This will be over. And something in that last moment just hit me. And it's like, you'll find a way, fight through. You'll find a way despite if your mum dies, despite if Danielle dies, you'll find a way. And it wasn't instant. No way was it instant, but it made me continue to walk past that bridge. And in time, it was during more chaos that I found a balance within. It was having Danielle dying in my arms and having to be of that optimal productivity to stay productive and have mental balance. I learned tools and techniques and studied and worked with all different alternative, traveled to a different country to go to alternative care because the NHS said we can't do anything. Here's some drugs, but we don't know what's wrong. So I was like, well, let's sell everything. Everything we have, sell it, and we'll go look for someone that might know. Who cares if they say they do or don't know? What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, it's now 7 years later. She's medication free. She's walking and she's alive. And they said she'd be dead by now. Yeah, and this was through all different types of alternative care. And I'm free of depression. I sleep wonderfully. My insomnia is gone.
That's an amazing, amazing story. And well, part of that is what I had to do in the sense of my experience was nowhere near. I didn't have to deal with all that stuff either. But that's what it takes, is you have to do it yourself. And it takes time. And yeah, it takes money sometimes, but sometimes you just have to go. If you don't have money, then you might have to think of something else. As you said, go in another country, do this, do that, do this. Maybe, yeah, I did. I spent tens of thousands of pounds on things that didn't really pay off the way I wanted. I did this, I went over there, I did stuff that fucking really zapped me into fucking, made mistakes on choices. But I realized I had to do that because I'm not going into that system to follow doctor's orders.
Well, yeah, especially when they tell you a lot of the time, we don't know. And I'm like, but I don't know what's wrong, but take this. And I'm like, my whole experience is saying that makes no sense. If someone says, I don't know, but here's something, it's straight away.
Man, it makes it. I know exactly where you're coming from. It's the part of it that's where
with the antidepressants, we got told, like, when she was in a lot of pain, he was one of the doctors. He's trying to give me antidepressants for her. And because I had a history with these, I'm aware why they use them. And I'm like, yeah, and he's like, but when you take them at a high dose, they're painkillers. And I was like, yeah, but what about the repercussions of the actual effect that you use them for her mental state? And he goes, oh, don't worry about that. He goes, but they'll work effective as a painkiller. And I kept saying, yeah, but what will it do to her mental state? And he said, nothing. And I was like, but you give this to people to change their mental state. If you're saying it will do nothing, you're saying it will do nothing for them. And he literally couldn't understand me. And then he's like, time's up. Here's your pills.
It's exactly. This is the system they've set up.
And you don't get time with them. It's like 10 minutes a session or
something.
You
don't get fucking time. So this is the system they've set up. Now, that's what we've been talking about. Whereas people defend it, they're still programmed into the defense of it because they don't want to go about the work of having to do something for themselves, which may be difficult. I'm not saying everyone's, if you've got 3 kids in a house and but that's your circumstance. What we're talking about is what you have to do if you want to try and get better out of this system. You're going to have to go out there on your own. You've got to go maverick.
Yeah,
At
and I
least now
think
you've got the internet where you can maybe Google some people and find out. Back in the old days, you just had the yellow pages or something, right? Like you had to. At least now you could Google shamanic medicine for antidepressants. See what comes up.
yeah, and I like what you said earlier about like depression. You said you're just overwhelmed, and it's like to me, depression it just means you need to depressurize. So it's like, what can you do to take pressure off your mind? What can you do to take pressure off your body? You know, and what can you just do to not add pressure? So sometimes it's just going without stuff rather than consuming so much.
Well, see, when I was going through mine, the big problem I always had was one since they've diagnosed me with this thing and so forth and whatnot, and you've got depression and rah rah rah, but they don't know what it is. Right? And you're in this, and there's no X-ray because we're not dealing with your broken leg. Here's your shin. It's gone like this. You're dealing with your inner state. There's this guy talking at you about your inner state. Now he's telling me that the depression or something is a mental health issue, but then you want to give me pills which affect the brain, which is a physical organ. So you're going through the physical, but saying I've got mental illness. But wouldn't this be a mental symptom?
Yeah, and it's when you look at it, it's like, what does an antidepressant do? SSRI or whatever they're called, serotonin rehab take activity. But serotonin's 95% created in the gut. Did they ask you?
Right.
Did they ask you? Are you going toilet? What do you consume? You know, how healthy is your
No,
bacteria? Did they do a stool test to check whether you've got a really messed up gut?
Oh, I see.
There's none of that's touched.
I went and did all this stuff myself with
Yeah.
naturopaths and all this, right? But now I'm sitting there going, okay, so you go and get some answers. Well, your hormones seem fine, rah 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 rah. So you can, but I was still lost, and then I never really found out what was going on because they're telling you you've blown out basically your neurotransmitters or your adrenal. For how long does this take to come back online? Your nervous system shot down because you're kind of in this world of fucking chaos, right? Because what's going on really? Why aren't I getting better? That was always my thing. Like it just took years, you know, and I would get. Some times when it was I could function and it was, but then it would come back with the brutality of just fucking, and it was like, God, But so, as I said, I finally when I got off these pills, but I can't really, I couldn't give anyone information on a path of which to take because.
Well, I'd say it sounds like your path was that mentality that you want to be free of your depression, and you was having the realization that you were told that these things won't give you that. So you were just on a path to look for what would give you that freedom where you have the feelings that you want without a substance you don't want that said it won't do that.
I just knew they wouldn't do that. See, also depression, I'm wondering because people will swear by them. I can't deny anyone else's, right? Some people are on them and they say, well, I had to, and it was horrible. But then again, I can't get, if I see two guys' broken legs on an X-ray, I can see the damage in each thing, right? Something like someone's going, I have depression, then I don't know how bad is it.
Yeah, what caliber it is. How do you measure it?
Yeah, right. Because I also wonder, because some people go, well, you have depression, so you paint a smile on and get on with it. Well, there was no painting a smile on what I had. So how are you painting a smile on what you think is depression? Is this actually depression, or are you just sort of?
I had to reanalyze myself when I realized that how long and that I had depression, and it was more for the fact I wasn't able to express or feel excitement or joy. There was no joy in anything, even things that I could see should be joyful and nice. It was like no. And like you said, with painting the smile, I could never not be authentic. So if someone said smile for a camera, I would just not be on camera because when I was young, I was sad. I was like, I don't want to see my own misery, and I'm not just going to smile for this picture. I don't want to look back at a false picture. I'd rather just not look back. I don't want to remember now. I'll take the picture.
I know
the camera.
About the smile. I can't smile. Every time I've got a photo, I'm like this. Why? So I can pretend to smile.
And then I had to add it to part of my routine. I had to train myself to smile again and to realize, like, when I was feeling good, my partner Danielle, she was like, "Are you okay today?" And I said, "I feel great." She goes, "You look miserable." And I said, "Really?" And I said, "I feel great." She goes, "You don't look like how you say you feel." And I was like, Oh man, I've been in a pattern of this is
Mate,
my
mate,
expression.
I have that. I have that because look at this. I've got this thing, right? Because I could sit around when I'm
Yeah,
not even that upset like this.
yeah, mine are a little less now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But here was
Right.
really
Because I could easily be sitting on the end of the bed like this guy. You don't even realize that you're
yeah,
just in this. And I'm not depressed,
no.
but this thing just can.
But we have recorded patterns and behavior that can give us actual nervous and hormonal stimulants from posture, and from expression. And it's like we've been patterned. If we've been depressed, we've had that pattern within us for a long time, and we can sit with our head down. And even if we're thinking about something good, the body's changing the chemical structure to the past and the
Yeah,
pains and the
yeah,
suffering. Like I implemented in my mornings, because I walk my dog in the morning anyway. And I was like, well, I'm going to walk. And most of the time I'm on my own. I was like, I'm going to walk. And from an outside perspective, like a movie, I was like, this person should look like they're enjoying their walk. And that's all. What does that look like? If someone was to be watching this in a film and it's silent, would they go, oh, he's really enjoying his walk today? Or would they say, Coy looks like he's having a hard time and he's miserable? Especially coming from England, it was like really uncomfortable. If you was to walk down the street with a smile on your face or saying good morning to someone,
yeah, yeah. I know.
what do you want? It's like the
Yeah,
bizarrest thing. It's like you've got an agenda. If you're gonna give me eye contact, you're gonna mug me, you're gonna ask me for some money. It's like so you look away, you look down, you don't speak. Here in the countryside, where every time you see a person, it's in Spanish, it's like buenos dias. It's like good morning with a smile and eye contact, wave. Like it's just instinct, and they all have it. Especially in the countryside, it's just a normal behavior to say, "You've just come across my presence in this time, this moment. Have a nice greeting, share a smile."
it's funny you say that. When I used to go live in this apartment block in Manchester. The laundromat bit is in the basement. A couple of washing machines in there. So I'd go down there to be one other person in there. So this awkward quiet. So I'd just go, "G'day, mate. How you going?" And some of them would just not even speak, right? And that's when I realised that, and there could have been a lot of students, Southerners perhaps. Manx probably would have spoke. But I realised, oh no, this guy was quite okay with the uncomfortable silence. And what I've done is ruined the whole thing for him by bringing some. G'day, mate. What's going on? Oh, we don't have to discuss, the universe, mate. G'day, mate. What's going on? You all right? Yeah. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, I remember being on the trains.
Sing together, sing on a train. They can all get together and sing on a train from Newcastle to Manchester. But then you say, "G'day" to the street. They go, "I'm sorry, what?" All of a sudden, they
I
can't
remember
function.
being in the underground, in London, and anyone that's been on the underground in London, you what's it called? What they call it, your safety zone or whatever the thing is they have these days. But this is where you experience oneness, because you're just crammed in like sardines. But you don't look at each other, you don't talk. It's like a socially uncomfortable situation because it's like you're being very intimate right now, but don't say anything.
It's so
And
funny. It
yeah,
is.
and I was always like, thinking me wanted to just say I'm on a train maybe for an hour sitting next to someone or opposite them. So I could be having a really good direct conversation. Thinking me wanted to say, like, how's your day been? But it wouldn't do it, wouldn't dare do it.
Mate, I've when there's I was on the tube the other night. Sometimes you'll get a homeless guy, someone's coming on, he might be asking some cash, and he'll stand at the end of the tube and go, "Hello, folks. Sorry to interrupt like this." And he'll be friendly as now. I know how insanely uncomfortable it's driving everybody, right? Whereas when he
Yeah.
gets near me, I just go, "G'day, mate. How you going?" Right? And he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah." This I go, "You all right, mate?" Right? Just so many people get scared of this outside. Oh no, he's going to interrupt
He's going to interact. He's
yeah,
trying to interact with me,
When you don't realise, mate, the easiest way to get out of this is to what? Just fucking start talking to the bloke, right? Right.
Do you know what's funny? That's exactly what I do in them situations. It's like if someone comes on, I will just have a conversation. And if they say, "Have you got some money?" I'll be like, "If I have, I'll give it to you, but I actually haven't."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and then they don't want to have a long conversation. They don't want
No,
much of an interaction.
no, no.
But
And
so many
also
people try and tune them out like they literally do not exist. Like that's not happening.
if you haven't got your cash, well, at least you said g'day.
Yeah, they just checking my battery a second.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know
all
what I
good.
mean. So someone who's sitting around on the street getting looked at and rah 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 and so forth and being homeless to begin with
Yeah, there was
saying
a
g'day. Saying g'day is fucking good.
what was really bizarre
G'day,
for me,
mate.
for
People get
me.
scared of these people. You just don't be
Yeah,
scared. It's like when some guy is a bit street, rah, 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 and knows that he can be a bit scary to people. Whereas they come up to me and I just go, g'day, mate, how you going? You just, I know you're putting this on, but you're putting a bit of act on it. Straight away they go, oh, yeah, all right, mate.
yeah. If you're in the village here in Spain, like not even a village, like just a small town, and you're in the shop, it's like custom that when you walk into a shop, you say hola, but to the whole shop, to everyone in the shop at one go. And at the beginning, I was like, what's going on? Why is this person coming in the shop and just shouting hello? I didn't know what was going on. I was like, who's he? Why does he need to shout at someone? I was like, who's he talking to? And then I found out he's talking to everyone. Like, you're actually saying hello to everyone when you walk into a shop or a bar or like. I was like, that is so bizarre, but it's quite nice.
Mate, it makes it easier to probably go up and chat to someone, a stranger.
Yeah,
You've already
yeah.
said hello.
I was having a chat with someone yesterday. He's walking his dog. His little old guy somehow gets here on a little electric. He's in a wheelchair, electric one. Speaks zero English, and my Spanish is horrendous. And we're having this conversation, and both hardly understanding each other at all. But he didn't leave, and I was getting to the point where I was like, I had something to do. I had a meeting coming up, and I was like, I didn't want to be rude, but I also don't know how to tell
You
him.
froze for a sec.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with signal today. Any better? Has it come back? Am I back?
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you are in the mountains, yeah.
Yeah, lucky for me, there's new towers popping up everywhere. Ain't I lucky? Part of that is like I really like it when I end up somewhere off grid. I have zero signal occasionally, and I'm like, oh, I can't work, but I love the fact that I have zero signal. There's a real duality. It's like I need to be in this system to do what I'm doing and to feed and to do this, and it's like, but I've been put in a position where I can't, so I just enjoy it now and go foraging. Oh, why am I freezing? Is it overheating because it's getting hot?
Mm.
Am I back?
Well, I can hear you. Oh, there you go. You're back now.
Yeah, but no, it's yeah, it is a duality of having to, like I said, like the pain of knowledge, the pain of sort of any forms of systems and how we can interact with them, hold some form of independence while you can't not be some form dependent unless you're a really skilled forager. Like especially in my life, so I forage, but I can't forage enough to eat like consistently.
No.
Then
No.
then I've got to get fuel for the van.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, then you can get. I got a water filter that's gravity fed, so it's no electric, and I can get water straight out of a river or a lake, and it filters it clean. Um, but apart from that, food is still, like I said, there's so many variants on where we're dependent. So for me, that independence is something you strive for, and not beat yourself up when you have to connect
Well, and
with
also
people.
that kind of independence really, it may become just a reality, depending how far this madness goes, in the sense of it may become a situation one has to deal with.
Hopefully, you won't be eating lizards anytime soon, or maybe you know which lizard to eat next time.
Oh, yeah. yeah, yeah, yeah. Stay away from the lizards, folks. I tell you.
Yeah. With the sort of last 2 years, it's been chaotic. How has that affected your sort of stand up? Like, did you do local performance? Because I know you got a tour coming up. Is this because
Well,
things are opening, or was you able to do underground tours during that time, or did you take it as just time off, or forced time off, or?
well, I got here for 3 weeks, and they start this fucking lockdown. So that first year and a half, whatever, no one. People go, we'll do comedy online. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What are you talking about? Here's the problem that happens is that the good thing about people is they can go, okay, we'll find a solution to a problem. Hey, we're doing the best that we can in the situation we got, Steve. Why are you so negative? Because you're manifesting the reality and going against the nature of what comedy is. You know, and so it's a live, interactive thing, and you doing this, what you've now done is you've manifested, you've shown that you'll accommodate yourself in this fake world. Don't do that, because now you're manifesting. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, this is how things get manifested by the mass, don't they? Why? Well, they acquiesce, and they say now they, in one sense, Steve, don't be so negative. We're finding a solution to the problem, to the situation that's arisen. Yeah, but this situation's been orchestrated to have you do exactly this. That's why you get so you go to the supermarket now, beep beep yourself and that. But I've just gone back to, I'm just going to stand in the queue even if I have to wait. But while it's still here, why? So I'm not manifesting. So I'm not participating. Will it solve the whole? Of course it won't, right? But I'm not gonna. I just realized that what happens is you all just do it. Now it's happening. Well, what else is there to do, Steve? And I know that's the spider's web you're in, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we briefly talked, like I say, once you're
creating
aware,
the system where you can't function without the thing, right? So that's it. And some of you could just call it, things change, Steve. It's the way of the world now.
and we briefly said before, and it's like you mentioned it a few times. Like people say, "So what do we do, Steve?" And it's like once you give someone an insight into anything, there's sometimes an angry assumption as well. It comes with a tone, comes with an expression. Like if you can point something out, then you must know the perfect solution. And it's like I think I said to you, I was like, you could be walking across broken glass and say to someone, "Do you realize we're walking on broken glass? This is dangerous." And they go, "Oh, so where should we walk then?" And you're like, "I don't know, but maybe not here." So I know as much as you know right now, but it doesn't mean I know everything. And that sometimes someone can think when you share something that like, "Oh, this person's arrogant. Oh, this person's a know-it-all." And it's like normally they're saying, "I don't know everything. I've realized I've come to know that I know so little." Yet they get the opposite response.
I had a great saying the other day where some guy goes, "Listen, I'm not saying I'm an expert in all these things because I'm far too smart."
Yeah, and it's exactly that.
So, but but at this point in time, there's another part of me that's just like, I was listening to this guy the other night. I never listened to him, but I liked his thing, and this was like 2008 or something. But he's going, he goes, I have no patience with ignorance anymore, and I just, because we're running out of time, so you can't just, you got to shake some of these fuckers, right? So if they want to start going, "Are you arrogant?" Well, if you fucking think so, mate. But it's just, in one sense, we can look at it very simply. I've known guys I've known for 35 years. They've had marriages and kids and done their jobs and watched football, and they're nice guys, good guys, my mates. Right? They don't know what I know because they haven't looked into what I've known. The same as I don't know how to pull a car apart and put it back together. Why? Because I haven't looked into it. I don't know how to do it. Some blokes do. Some blokes have done it heaps. Some blokes can do it without a manual now. Just fucking pull the thing right. Why? Well, they know how to do it. They've got all the knowledge. Right? Well, I've got lots of knowledge from this stuff. Now, is it all true and got the secrets of the universe? No, that's not the point. But none of you have what? But they attack you like, "Oh, it's just, stuff, Steve's into stuff." So are you trying to tell me that every single person of every book that I've read was written by idiots? But you don't know what I know. You've already dismissed it, but you don't know what I know. Right? And also you're upset with the fact that you don't think there could be any truth in what I no, you think you know everything. No, but I know a lot more than you. Same as that guy knows a lot more than me about cars. And those blokes know a lot more than me about football. And that guy knows more than me about kung fu. Because that's what they did. Right? See, I haven't just looked at a couple of YouTube videos in the last 2 weeks. No, I've looked into this for 25 years. Of aliens and Dracos and lizard worlds and Israel and money systems and rah 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 and biblical stuff and psychology and drugs and moon landings and occultism in money, Phoenician money systems, banking systems, secret societies, rah 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 rah. But see, you haven't. So, yeah, I know more than you. Now, I don't have the answers because this is a deep, multi-complex fucking global enterprise. I'm just one bloke that read some books, and I'm in a world that is littered with disinformation at times. A lot of the times, of course it is. You know, they give you your heroes and your villains. They give you truth with lies because also they're occultically using you to manifest things to have you acquiesce. So they tell you the truth because they tell you what they're going to do to you. Right? So I just find it funny that people are so into experts, except if they meet an expert who's got things that they don't want to hear about.
It's also a bit like what you said with the mental health or with the depression. It's hard to calibrate. If someone says, I'm a mechanic, here's a car, I'm going to strip it apart and put it back together. It's so easy to assess and evaluate and go, well, they know what they're doing. When it comes to other sort of things, it can be so cryptic. And with no knowledge or information on it, you can't even decipher how to measure whether this person knows anything or nothing. And they go back to their foundations of just the little knowledge they may have on certain aspects. But what I'm interested in, because a lot of people that will probably hear your stuff that have followed your content, and with the vast amount of information in all these areas now, a lot of people are, say, binge watchers of conspiracies, or they're just going. Do you remember Short Circuit, a film called Short Circuit with a robot in the 80s?
Yeah.
And he's going input, input. Yeah. I think everyone goes through that phrase when they start to learn certain things, where it's just like you can't get enough input. You just want flying through the books, flying through the videos of all this information. And that can in itself be really stressful and painful.
Here's the next point. This is usually what you do at the beginning of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Which is good, because if you want to learn about stuff, you learn about stuff. Here's one they tell people, when people go to me, do you want me to believe that, Steve? See, I'm not asking you to believe anything, right? Because eventually I've learned, after being in this for so many years, that it's about deconstructing my beliefs.
Yeah.
Right. So, and also what's driving me to just believe some of these things. Right? Which part of me is being accommodated? That is accommodating states of my mind, which I find comfortable in sifting through the underworld. Right? Well, I'm Scorpio too, 5 planets. So there's a part of me that likes that anyway, finds it natural.
So you've got five planets in Scorpio.
Yeah. So part of me finds it natural, right? The underworld, secrets, mysteries. But I also realize that eventually just harvesting fucking information doesn't do anything. It becomes just a big mess, right? Because it's just harvesting information. As I said before, you can harvest knowledge, but if you don't then turn it into wisdom, you can have breakdowns.
Yeah, it's a bit like a hoarder, isn't it? Hoarding information within your mind. You've just got this stuff and you won't let go from like every bit of information.
And I was listening to this fellow the other night. He said something which I kind of thought, and then it was great to hear someone of his wisdom say it. He goes, listen, and he's well versed in history, like hardcore. But he goes, listen, I know you can get excited to want to go back and look at all the stuff, because there's a lot of conspiracy theory that goes back to ancient times and pharaohs and bloodlines and money and who started the banks and where's it spread out to, and right. And it goes back to religious icon of symbolism and vast churches and things. But he goes, listen, that's all well and good. He goes, but I reckon, we haven't got time for that anymore. Right? He goes, you could start from about from your Bolshevik revolution onwards. He goes, start to get an idea what's going on from there. Yes, it's connected, but you haven't got time right now because it's coming down the pipe. Right? So just start to look at the idea of how your society's, and it's like that. I mean, look at the society, look at it with the PC and the feminism and the rah 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 and the thing, and it's insane. It's like a schizophrenic landscape of insanity. You know, they're sitting around, running around, they're telling you there's a deadly virus, and you should all go and get this thing, and then there's a Russia wants a war with Ukraine and all this, but at the same time, they should be concerned about women's rights with the money. But I'm looking at women who work for the BBC on £350,000 a year. You're not telling me that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? These are such moot points. They're such garbage. They're such static.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be sort of looking at, right? Which is yourself, and also, just get rid of the static. It's all there to confuse you. got to promote the gays and do this and have this and don't be a racist and and you people are caught up in it like it's the be all and end all, the solution of the problems to create some kind of harmonious utopia between all the minorities and the evil white man or something. It's ridiculous. But it's a strategy. It is ridiculous, but it's a very well thought out strategy designed for your destruction. So it's not a moot point per se, but the things that people are caught up in become just, you're caught up in the static of it's what it's supposed to do to you.
So within that and that awareness that you have you found in your time, like even recently, have you found something that brings you back to that balance? If that anger or frustration or, just of knowing all them things and how seeing it all the time, it's in your face everywhere. Have you found anything that you do that just brings you to a center, whether that's a thought, an exercise, a practice? Is there anything particular that centers you?
Well, at the moment, I'm in Manchester. I've got to move out of here in 2 weeks again. I don't know where I'm going to live. That's why I'm so envious of sitting where you are. I know there's a part of me, I may just have to go and disappear.
Yeah, I'd say come to Spain, but I don't know how well you would do stand up in Spain.
Oh, no.
You might have to learn some.
Because it's not so much the stand up. I mean, if I had money, which I did have before I had a breakdown, there's another thing I lost. So, money just to stop. Oh yeah, I know how I can get balanced. I head to somewhere like that. I can easily live with a tribe of people that let's be human. Right? That would help immediately. Right? Being in nature would balance me immediately. Being somewhere where I could get up in the morning and just sit around a fire. What do we got to do today? Well, really, we could just sit here, go for a walk, smoke a spliff, drink tea. I could sit at the fire. All this would balance me. Because I've done it before when I've been to festivals or I've lived in the bush where I know what happens to me. Right? When you don't have to rush around and do anything. You don't have to do anything.
So what do you do now though when you don't have them things? You can't light a fire in your room and there is no bush.
I make art.
Oh, you were showing me. Can you just show the camera because I saw it before we started recording?
I buy CDs that I've already got for £1 from secondhand store, and then I chop the covers up.
Oh, that's nice.
So this is Enya, Memory of Trees. So it's quite feminine too in its symbolism.
Yeah, and you find that just doing that creative piece, and I imagine you're not doing that for profit. That's something you just do for your own self.
U2 one. People are going, Bono, isn't he part of the thing? Yeah, but he wasn't back then. He was excellent. It was a great band. And the beautiful pictures done by Anton Corbin. That's the thing. There's a lot of this artwork on these CDs. It's so great. That's why I don't understand why anyone wouldn't want physical product. Why they just want everything in this nebulous space of downloaded music. It's like you said, your car won't give you a CD player now. I'm like, that'd be shocking to me. I'm like, I don't want to be connected to this thing. I want my CD.
Yeah, I had loads.
I don't need anybody to know what I'm listening to or what I'm doing. I
bought a big wallet of CDs over with me when I moved into the van, and then I needed a CD player, so I went and bought one, and noticed it didn't have a CD slot. It's like this, normally you get the deck and it's really big and goes in your dash. It was like tiny. It's like this deep because it doesn't take a CD anymore. And it's got a USB plug-in, Bluetooth, and all these things. I was like, I just want to play I've got CDs. I like sometimes leaving a CD on and hearing the crap tracks, not the one, just letting them play through.
I just like the idea of I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It's a very small thing which people think Steve, I think you just join in and all that. But no, it's like I'd buy a Walkman, a Discman. See, the more you get into this, the more I'll go backwards. So I'd gladly have a Discman. Why? Well, I'll carry a dozen. Well, you'll only have a dozen. Oh, that's okay. I'll just have a dozen CDs.
I think in that the quality ups as well rather than the quantity, because you have to be selective. When you've got a little iPad with 5,000 songs on there, what you really got your favourites? So you really honing in on some and listening to the
Nah,
lyrics or playing them
you've all got
properly.
so much stuff. It was like when I
Yeah.
went to the Glastonbury Festival to do a show. It was like, Jesus, what a nightmare that place is. In the sense of, how it's set up. But it was like, there was almost like so much stuff going on that nothing was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
It's a bit like a bit of good sort of metaphor for the world for the most part. There's so much going on. But what's really happening is there a lot of construction happening? It's why people are surprised by little acts of kindness because they just don't see it so often. It's like we said, someone says hello to you, and it's like, wow, what's going on? It's like that shouldn't be a surprising thing.
Oh well, it is at the moment. But really deep down in them, I mean, this system affects it. This environment affects me. It has to. I mean, it's. You can sit there and go, okay, I know we can. I know all the stuff being Zen and Buddhist and that, and keeping yourself whenever the external world is going on and so forth. Really, I know how much easier it is if I just wake up and I walk outside and there's just trees. Start fire. You start fire in the morning. It's excellent. Sit in the dirt. Just makes you.
Was connecting in it to your actual earth that you're on. So I think a lot of people.
Also, there's a great. I know things have to be done so you can survive. But look at this vast system we've created. It's so massively outrageous. But really, people, I don't think they can even comprehend anymore. What would I do if I didn't go to work? Sit around.
Yeah, and I've had people say that before. I've heard people say, like, they say they lose their job, they lose their thing, and they're like, I don't know what to do with my life. And it's like, that's fine, find something, but it doesn't have to be that, but they've really lost. They're really lost without that core. And like you said, sometimes it's getting people into nature because they've never been disconnected. It's very much like the Matrix when they pull the plug out of them. It's a shock. Sometimes some things in life shock us a lot and it pulls us out of something and then we're scared and just want to be plugged back in, want that juicy steak, want that, I can't even remember which one it is now, the red or the blue pill. Which one's the one that people want to go back to?
The blue pill.
The blue pill. But yeah. But no, it is a frustrating time for a lot of people, I think. But I think that at the same time,
they're experiencing.
It's always a duality. It's also a beautiful time.
Oh yeah, well, those are the wisest I listen to are always, I mean, you could look at it like, if you've got a fear of the dentist, once the pain of the rotten tooth overrides the fear of the dentist, you go to the dentist. So it could be in that's a small metaphor for what's happening. Well, human beings have decided that they aren't going to wake up.
Yeah, I like to see what people
without having the pain override the fear.
Well, pain definitely woke me up in terms of just life and awareness. The shock, the trauma, the stress definitely gives you a different perspective. And the people I spoke to and seen in different aspects the last 2 years has really made people just a bit more eyes open to anything and everything, whether that's just learning new skills and stuff, but they're doing things they wasn't doing before. They're taking in input they wasn't taking before.
Yeah.
Some people have shut down.
Also, you're seeing, it's happened to me anyway. You're seeing people that you've known all your life that you realise you didn't know.
Yeah.
That you thought were sort of outliers, and then you realise that how into that system they are.
Yeah, and you realise that, and you realise how little actual community, conversation, interaction we have with people that we consider close friends. I talk to people like you right now on podcasts more than I have people I consider that have been lifelong friends. So you have to reflect on that and go, what is that friend? What is that friendship that you was attached to? You've never had a real conversation.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And you're like, wait a minute. And I think a lot of people are going through that sort of transition. And I like to see that what someone calls the awakening. I don't like any label. So as soon as it becomes a label and people are using it, I really don't. So even awakening, I don't like using the word, but I
I
use
know
it
what
for
you
this.
mean.
But I use it for this example. I see it like that how we see this a day, there's a point where the sun comes up and the first light hits. And that's when you're stimulated by the light and you start to wake up. Now, the earlier you get up, the longer day you have to set up your day to be more productive, to take use of the light before you got to go back to rest again. Yeah, and some people are being woken up now like at 9 p.m. They've missed out on the dawn. They missed out on the beauty of the actual sunrise. But they're up a little bit. Some people are getting up at midday and they're ratty and they're tired still. And they're like, I just want to go back to bed. And the people that got up at 6 are going, nah, it's a great day. Wake up. You
Mate,
missed the sunrise.
I want to be the guy that gets up at 6, but I fucking work nights my whole life. I'm a mess.
What sort of sleep schedule do you have now? Like, what's your normal
It's
pattern?
rubbish. It's rubbish. I could go to bed anywhere between midnight and 3 a.m. Because I've worked my whole life at night.
Again, not that it helps much because it's just what you want and what you need, but you can't get it right now. But the 3 days living with the circadian rhythm of the night and the sun in nature, complete reset of your clock, no matter how long it's been. That's what's crazy. Yeah.
And I know I've done, when I was having the breakdown, I did tons of research into everything. So it was like, I started to understand, right, the melatonin comes in at sunset, and then it helps with the healing of the organs, and then you're supposed to go to bed at this time. So between these hours, the liver and that stuff's have a bit of a cleanse, and you get to do this and you do that, and then the serotonin when the sun comes up, you go bang, and you can get up again. Nature's showing you, look, the birds are up, beep, 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 beep. And then the Chinese are telling you, yeah. I remember once this Chinese woman gave me some acupuncture or something, and she just touching me back. She goes, "You're sleeping daytime, no good." How can you tell? How can you tell? I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100%. Like these things represent in our body. So clearly, it's something I was ignorant to for most of my life. I would look at things like that, acupuncture, chiropractic, all these alternative care, and I was like, this is pseudoscience. This is following that pattern. It's like you just dismiss them. Oh, it's back. It just cut. Well, Steve, we're coming near to the end of the time purely because my battery is going to cut off.
That's funny you say acupuncture. That was one of my. Acupuncture was one of my acting from the medical system in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because I had sciatic nerve, probably from drumming or something, and didn't know what it was. I hadn't heard of sciatic nerve. I wasn't a sports guy or anything. It wouldn't go, and I got this pain in my fucking leg, and I'm seeing physios and this and everything. And even then, I'd try anything. So I fucking had to get back to drumming. I couldn't stand this. Taking herbs and potions, and then I thought eventually, my last port of call, even back then, was the actual hospital. Right?
Yeah.
So then, after months of trying to fucking remedy myself at this thing, I go to the doctors. Okay, well, give me a scan and tell me what this is and what's going on. Oh, you got a prolapse disc. Telling me that the disc between the vertebrae is prolapse, not just bulge, but prolapsed. So you'd have to go in there and do this. And so now I'm like, oh, what? I haven't been hit by a truck or anything. Like, what are you talking about? But so he goes, but it's elective surgery, so it could take anywhere up to a year and all that. So I said, Paul, put my name down, because if I went this every year, I'll take the fucking risk. And then they ring me in like 2 weeks. Oh, we can do it. And I'm like, luckily, I was teaching this kid drums at the time. And his dad come to pick him up. He was like a long-distance runner guy. And he goes, you've got sciatic nerve. I've had that from running. He goes, go and see this guy, this acupuncturist. So I go down and see this guy. You walk in there, hobble in there. And he checks me out. No x-rays, just going like this. And he goes, I'll fix you in 3 weeks. He goes, you'll have to come 3 times a week, but I'll fix you in 3 weeks. And I go, how are you going to fix a prolapse disc? So I sticking needles in me. He goes, what prolapse disc? Well, the one on this scan. No, there's no prolapse disc here. 3.5 weeks. That's when I went, yep, excellent. I knew it. Yeah. I knew somewhere, because all that time I was reading Shaman books and all this, and there was that part of me that always just knew that, There's deeper shit going on in the world. You know?
Yeah,
acupuncture just made, this guy was a master acupuncturist. He still is. He's old. He's still rocking, man, this maniac. You know? But
and it breaks you when you get the actual, say, result, should we say, and then you realize, wait a minute, especially when you come for the UK, it's like, why isn't this included in what's technically free? Yeah,
oh, mate,
called free.
Just,
so then that just helps open your eyes a little bit more. I see, it's like, okay, because you see, you got the result when you never got results before. Like you said, then you just have to go at it.
Also, why I love this fucking result was, what is this guy doing? He's putting pins in me. It was he was really fucked up sciatic, so he did give me some massage for that. But I trusted this guy, not just someone at the physiotherapist who's giving me a massage and doesn't know really whether they're doing it any harm or any good. I knew this guy knew. He gave a fuck, right? And so I like that. There's trust now, right? And then he's putting pins. There was electrical sometimes on the pins, right? He even zapped me fucking nuts once. It was a bit of a joke. Yeah, is it? But he's sitting there and he's like, but I could feel it getting better. And then also, what was so good about it? What? There was no pills. There was no nothing. There was what? The body being stimulated to fix it.
Yeah, and like I said, it's already within the body. It just needs a little bit of redirecting.
So, he just stimulated the body to fix it. And then I walked off without any rubbish in me or pills or this or something.
Yeah.
It's the only way to go.
Like I said, that's what drives me. That's my passion. And like I work mostly with people sort of one-to-one in real life, because a lot of it is hands-on. A lot of it, you do need to interact with the physical person. It also builds a much closer trust being in presence with each other, so the person have an open system. But I had a guy, he was 85 years old. He had like a turtle shell back. He slept 3 times a day, had siestas 3 times a day, got up 10 times to urinate every night. And he's like, yeah, but it's old age. He goes, I'm an old guy. What do you expect? And I said to him, look, come see me for about 10 sessions over 2 weeks. And I said, for free. So I'm not even going to charge you. So just come and see me. I said, because I've got time. And I said, and I care. And within 7 sessions, he was getting up once a night to go toilet. And he was no longer having siestas. And he said to me, he goes, I don't know what to do in the day. He goes, I've got the whole day now. He goes, you've given me the whole day. And he goes, I don't know what to do. He goes, what do I do? And then by day 10, he wrote me a little note saying he feels like he's been born again. And he danced with his daughter, and she was 60. She came and saw me, and she goes, I can't believe I had a dance with my dad. He's normally so miserable. And I said, he was just in a lot of pressure and pain, and he hadn't slept. Who wouldn't be miserable?
Yeah.
And there was no pills. There was no, it's like, even age isn't the issue.
And it's the mindset. No, we've all got these things, these programs to talk of mindset. I was in the gym one day. They got the radio on. You see it. It goes, people over 40 are always more susceptible to prostate cancer. And who said? Right? It's such rubbish. Right? Like, it is there. They have it on. Telling you, are they? That's also telling what everyone's just the same. Unless it's genetic, because their genetics are higher. It's all rubbish.
Yeah,
what's your mindset?
I was watching this.
It's like I couldn't believe that people went and got vaccinated for flu, right? Because in case they get the flu, right? Like, just because winter's here. I don't know why you think that winter coming is going to make you sick. I never thought about getting sick in winter. Just thought my bony ass is going to freeze at the bus stop. I better get a hat, some gloves. Never got sick. Never got the flu. Why? Why would I get the flu? It's just cold.
Well, that always got me when I was a kid. They said, "Don't be careful going out with wet hair. You'll get a cold." And then the next minute, it's like you catch a cold. Oh, it infects you. And it's like, which one is it? Is it just because I'm cold, or is there something flying about at all moments that loves the cold? And it's like you got wet hair, and I was like, "Now I'm doing whatever." But I think part of that again is if your body's weak, your immune system's weak, but your mind's also weak, and you're susceptible to constantly having this intention that this can happen.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've been to Mumbai, India 3 times, and that you don't drink the water, or you don't eat the chicken heads they're selling off pieces of cardboard in the sun.
Yeah,
but I never thought I'm going to get sick. I never thought I better get some things. Like, I'm going to bloody India where the bloody Indians are everywhere. I just got off the plane, hung around, and went to the hotel. I said, "Don't drink the ice or drink the water." I went, "All right."
Yeah, no, I did the
Then
same.
I wandered around Mumbai.
Yeah, I went there a couple of times. Oh, amazing place. And I remember we went to this little gym and the guy has offered us a free bottle of water. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I went to go for a wee, came around the corner and he's with a needle gluing, do you know, the little things that keep the cap? Like he'd refilled a bottle of water with just tap water. But so I
Oh,
would drink it, he's gluing the little thing, but he was giving it to me free. So his intention was good, but he didn't have a bottled water with a cap. So to him, it was okay to just glue individually, go around and glue each one of the seals. And I thought that was hilarious. I was like, okay, I'll now have to look a little extra careful at my bottle caps.
don't drink it. Don't drink the tap water there. You know?
Yeah. All right, Steve,
But
I'm
the
gonna.
Indian guy probably can because the Indian guy's
Yeah,
there.
he's good. And again, it comes down to having this talk with my brother about bacteria, and we call it culture, you know, and different cultures and different bacteria links. You know, it's all the same as one big petri dish, as they say. And you
Mate,
go there,
you
and
know,
it's
I realised that, they were selling chicken heads in the sun on bits of cardboard. Well, I know there's no way I can eat that, but someone's eating it.
yeah, someone's in it, and you see much more smiles, and you see
Mate,
much more proportional looking physiques.
mate, someone's eating it and they're going, all right, why? Because their body went, well, this is pretty rough, but also we sorted it out, right? Like, this is what's going on. Me, I come from eating fucking a Greg sausage roll to here. Well, I just fucking stare at that chicken head. I'll probably get sick, right? But I didn't. But see, there's another thing where you can understand, well, the body just can acclimatise in strange ways. And it's not just this doctor thing, medicine, look at it. It's not. So I guess the point of our talk tonight is what? Yeah, if you can get off any medication you're on, psychological or not, try and get off. Innocent. Oh, I have to take it for my blood pressure. Do you?
Yeah,
nothing else in the world. There's nothing else in the world. You're back. Oh,
you're back. My battery is about to go, and the only place I have power is back in the van. Can you hear me? Am I cut? Oh, let's see. Can you hear me?
We
Am I
should wrap
back?
it up anyway.
Yeah, we'll wrap it. It's been amazing to talk to you and connect
Yeah,
with
I've
you.
got stuff. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and I'll let you know when this is coming out. It should be this Sunday.
All right, no worries.
Yeah. But thanks for coming on and sharing. It was nice to have a conversation with you.
I need a haircut. Look at this.
You need to grow your hair back again.
Yeah, maybe I do.
Yeah.
Maybe I do. But I have to go through that koala stage.
When winter's coming, it's a good time to wear a hat, and just let it grow out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I will. I have to go through that fucking fuzzy stage. Maybe I will grow it back. It's an idea.
But there's something about hair and electricity, it's the only thing that picks up static. So I think with the amount of technology we have, there's something to do with keeping your hair. I think, and so many cultures, it's you cut the hair to cause shame, especially for the males, more for males than females. Native Indians say it's what links them to their intuition. They said that when the Westerners come, they'd cut their hair off so they'd lose their intuition.
I heard about stuff like that. It picks up.
So maybe, who knows? Grow it back and see if you can feel the difference.
I'll give it a go. All right, brother. No worries.
Great to chat to you. And have a beautiful day.
Yeah, you too. See you, mate.
See you later.